very welcome back to the Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with another Rumour Has It video where we're talking about players linked to the football club this summer transfer window. It's really heating up now. We look like we're going to be getting Harvey Barnes through the door to join Sandro Tonali. Two unbelievable purchases so far this transfer window, but there's room for more, and there's more players being linked every single week, especially in key areas like left back, which we're going to get stuck into right now. I'm really excited about this one. I'm going to get stuck into it in a second. Just before we do, little reminder, if you're new to the channel and you just check us out for the first time, please consider subscribing. Hang around a bit longer, why don't you? Loads of quality stats and chats that we're just about to go through about this particular player, as well as a live show every Monday with me and Mark, what's going on at 10 o'clock, and the odd rant here and there if you want to jump on and have a look. You don't even have to be a Newcastle fan. We had some great love from Fulham fans recently about our Metro rant, so come and check us out. Click subscribe. You won't regret it, guys. Right, I'm going to get stuck back into Newcastle United here. So there's a player been linked in the media for a key position now. I'm not sure how realistic this move will be. And actually for his current club, I think it's a bit of a crazy move if they let this happen. But for Newcastle United, I think it'll be unbelievable. So Pete Graves on Sky Sports kind of teased that Newcastle United were interested in a young left back. Now, it looks like we're going to be signing Livramento from Southampton as well. That's pretty much done by the time you watch this video. It might be done. 30 million quid. Now, everyone's been wondering, we asked the same question on Thursday when me and Mark and Lee sat down and talked about our season expectations, that why would we sign another right back when we've got Kieran Trippier? Now, there's two schools of thought here, is that potentially Livramento can play right back and Trippier can go a left back, or Livramento can go a left back and Trippier can play right back, or Livramento could even be a right winger because he's versatile like that. So this still leaves a hole in the left-hand side of the area. Matt Targett's played some pre-season there, looked okay, looked pretty decent. And Matt Targett's a steady away player, but he offers you more defensive qualities probably than offensive qualities, because all of our attacking play really goes down Kieran Trippier's right-hand side. So for me, I still think we need to bring in a left back who's able to attack and able to go forward. And it just takes me seamlessly on to this player I'm going to talk about right now, which is this lad, Lewis Hall from Chelsea. Some of you might say, who? Now, this kid is only 18 years old. He broke through in the Chelsea first team last season. I don't even know who the manager was when he broke through. It was possibly Graham Potter or Frank Lampard. Who knows? Chelsea change managers more than most people change their underpants. But Lewis Hall came in at the left back position, young English left back, kind of plays midfield for the reserve team. But what a footballer this kid looked. I absolutely love it when young players step into first teams and just don't even look phased, look like they belong. This lad is a quality footballer. Not only is he lightning quick, but he's so good on the ball. He's so composed. His reading of the game for a left back is absolutely phenomenal. I was watching him bombing up and down the line against the likes of Manchester City and against us as well. He played excellently against Newcastle United. You know, I think he'd sent Sean Longstaff for a hot dog, I think, at St James's Park. But, you know, this kid is a fantastic footballer. And at 18 years old, he's only going to get better. So the stories have come out, apparently, that Newcastle United have made an inquiry about Lewis Hall. Now, the story goes is that Newcastle United will be interested in a loan with an obligation to buy, and that plays into some of the journalists' feedback on the FFP, and kind of we're at a tipping point now, which is why we'll have to sell Maxi to Saudi Arabia to get Harvey Barnes through the door. But if we can pull off this deal, I think it's unbelievable for Newcastle United, Eddie Howe and Dan Ashworth. Really silly by Chelsea, in my opinion. And Mauricio Pochettino is normally the type of manager who would have this kid in his plans and say he is such a good footballer. Why would I not have him around? But again, Chelsea are hemorrhaging FFP. Not qualifying for the Champions League really cost them as well. And they might be thinking, we'll cash in on the lad, sell him as an asset, send him to Newcastle on loan, and then they'll buy him at the end of the season for 30 million quid or whatever it may be. But I'm so excited about this lad, if this can happen. He has added fuel to the fire, which I'll come on to in a little minute. But let's have a look at the stats first before I get stuck into that, or I'll be talking about him all day before I've even told you how good he is. So as I said, they're 18 years old. We've compared him with Dan Burn, maybe unfairly, but Dan Burn played left back for us most of last season. So you can see that 11 appearances from Lewis Hall. So he really just kind of broke through towards the end there. So no goals and no assists in that regard, versus Dan Burn, who played the whole season. But let's have a look at his per 90 minutes from defensive qualities and offensive qualities here, and it'll blow your socks off. So 3.17 tackles per game per 90 minutes of those 11 appearances versus Dan Burns 1.74, 1.51 interceptions. That's something this kid is really, really good at, because he's so quick physically, and he's so quick in the mind as well. He's able to put himself in positions to take the ball off people. I've watched his highlight reel. He just So many times he just kind of nips into a space and intercepts a pass and then, starts the attack again. It's fantastic to see. Blocks as well. He still puts his body in the line, 1.10 blocks a game, 1.51 clearances. So not as many clearances as Dan Burn, but Dan Burn can't rely on his pace or his kind of speed and movement. He relies more on his pure raw defensive qualities, which are very, very good. Not going to slag off Dan Burn in that regard. Fouls 0.41, so he gives away very little fouls as Lewis Hall. Recovery 6.61, so he's really good at that. Pass completion 80%. His passing is phenomenal. He's got a wonderful left peg. He really has. Some of the crosses he's whipping in last season for Chelsea. Again, you look at his highlight reels. Chelsea should have buried these chances. You whip them at Alexander Isak or Callum Wilson, that's a goal in my opinion. So again, it's another reason to bring the lad in. And the crosses per game, take a look at that. Dan Burn is not a left back in terms of getting forward and crossing the ball. Lewis Hall, 4.68 crosses a game. Unbelievable. We did a video about Kieran Tierney ages ago, and I still like Kieran Tierney. This kid is probably just as good as Kieran Tierney, if not possibly better at 18 years old. Looking at those stats, I know it's a bit of a hyperbolic thing to say, but he looks a real player. And honestly think if he continues in this trajectory, he could be England's left back in the next couple of years. I really believe that. So if Newcastle can get this done, this will be utterly phenomenal. Look at his shot creation chances too, 3.5 a game, which is unbelievable. Still no assists, but he only played a handful of games. But let's have a look at his stats under the microscope with the red, amber, greens, as Mark always does. Look at that. Tackle in there, 94th percentile for left backs right across the top 5 leagues. Tackles won, 87%. Tackles in the defensive third, 99%. People tend to forget this. Chelsea were under pressure a lot last season. They're really struggling. Teams came onto them. They weren't the Chelsea of old. So defensively, Lewis Hall had to be sharp, and he bloody well was, and all looking at that. Tackles in the midfield, slightly lower than that, 35%. But dribblers tackled, look at that, 99 percentile. Talk about a fullback or wing back that can keep up with speed and trickery and skill. That is a phenomenal stat for a left back. 99th percentile for tackling. Their interceptions, 89th percentile. Blocks slightly low and clearances slightly low, but he's not a traditional old school defender like that. Passing, 73. Pass completion, 70th percentile. Long passes, 95 percentile. This kid can ping a ball all over the park. You look at the highlight reel again of him as well. When he was playing reserve team football as well, he was blasting balls all over the shop. You can see that there. Key passing, 95 percentile. Progressive carry, 71. Crossing, 85. Shot creation, 95. In the fouls and recoveries, again, he's in a higher percentile. So for me, this is an unbelievable piece of business if Newcastle United can pull this off. I'd be shocked if Chelsea let him go. I really, really would. But just maybe shows you the state of where Chelsea are, playing this money ball crazy game under Todd Bowley. Maybe they're going to have to lose some of their key young players. They've done it before. You got to remember Chelsea got rid of Kevin De Bruyne and Mo Salah many moons ago. So, I'm not saying that, Lewis Hall are going to be as good a player as them. Jesus, if he's half the player of them, and Newcastle get him, we've got some player on our hands. But they may have to jettison this lad off just to help them out with the financial books. But going back to the fuel for the fire thing. So obviously this has come out into the media now and everyone's buzzing about it. Everyone's really excited about it. For me personally, I think Newcastle United should make this happen. If they can make this happen, because I honestly do think this kid will be phenomenal. And he'll be England's number 1 left back in the next couple of years. He's got all the attributes to do it. The story goes apparently that Hall wants to play in midfield, but if you look at the way Eddie Howe coaches players and the way he progresses players, look at Joe Linton. When he came in, Joe Linton was a misfire in centre forward. Now he's a box-to-box midfielder. Lewis Hall might look at that and think, you know what, this guy could really turn me into a better player. And if I want to be a midfielder, Eddie Howe can make that happen. But with Newcastle United, the way we play, Kieran Trippier is a right back and he's our most attacking influence. He's got the second biggest assist in the league next to Kevin De Bruyne. So if Lewis Hall can replicate that, the left-hand side, what Trippier does on the right, going to spend most of his time in the final third whipping in crosses anyway. So in my opinion, I think Newcastle United will be a perfect fit for Lewis Hall. But back to the fuel for the fire thing. So Lewis Hall recently, all these eagle-eyed private investigators these days when it comes to transfers, he started to follow all the Newcastle United players on social media, on Instagram, followed the club on Instagram, and he only follows Chelsea and Newcastle United as clubs on Instagram. So that's really adding the fuel to the fire to people thinking that this could happen. And there's been stories coming out that apparently his dad and his brother are Newcastle fans as well. So that's in his family. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's been surrounded by a black and white, growing up as a kid. He's obviously got a little bit of an affection towards the club, possibly. It's not been confirmed by the player, obviously, but if he was to sign, I'm sure he would come out and say something like that, because it's a great way to get yourself off on a good footing with the fans, isn't it? But yeah, for me, I'm massively excited about this. This is possibly the most excited link I've had since the Madison deal, which obviously didn't come off. So touch wood. Hopefully, I'm not going to be the curse here. But if Newcastle United can get this deal done, in my opinion, they really, really have to, because that left back position, as we all said on Thursday night, is key. It needs to be filled. Love Dan Burn to death. He's absolutely brilliant, but he's not a left back. Those stats have just shown that. All of our play comes down that right-hand side, and we're going to get to a stage where we're quite easily scouted by people that just need to put two man on Trippier, and then he's not going to be able to get forward and get those balls into the box and make things happen. He's such a good player; he'll probably find a way, but it's going to be a lot more challenging for us, and we'll spend more time being stifled by teams. If you have a kid on the other side of the pitch in Lewis Hall that can do that, wow! And then if you think about that left-hand side, the energy, the pace, the creativity. If you've got Harvey Barnes and Lewis Hall on that left-hand side of the park, and on the other side you've got Miggy Almiron and Kieran Trippier, I mean, that is a dangerous prospect for anyone who comes up against Newcastle United next season. So we'll be keeping a real close eye on this one, definitely, and hoping that this comes off, because this will be an unbelievable piece of business by Newcastle if we can get this done. You know, Harvey Barnes, Livramento, and then Lewis Hall on top of Tonali, that is shaping up to be one hell of a window for Newcastle United, if that is how we end it in the pre-season. Maybe need a centre forward as well. Let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Obviously, if you're excited about the links to Lewis Hall, also, if you think we need a couple more players in the mix as well, we always like to hear from you. We always take the time to try and reply to your comments if you take the time to type them. We're not the kind of channel to ignore you, so we always appreciate the interaction that you guys give us. And if you're new to the channel and you're just checking us out for the first time, you like what you see, smash subscribe, come and join us. We're over 4,260 subs, I think, now. But like the video too, really helps the channel get around YouTube, helps it grow. We'll be back soon with some more Rumour Has It links. Hopefully, we'll be back with a Lewis Hall signed, sealed, delivered video on top of Harvey Barnes and Livramento as well. Things are heating up. The lads are over in America. We'll be keeping an eye on that. We'll jump on and maybe talk a little bit about that, possibly as well. If not, we'll talk about it on What's Going On Monday at 10 p.m. Have a cracking weekend, everybody, whatever you're doing, and we'll see you later. Cheers now. Bye.